You've been listening to the LA County Daily Briefing on the coronavirus emergency. Dr. Barbara Ferrer giving us the latest numbers, 25 additional deaths, bringing the total to 223 people who have died of COVID-19 in LA County. Mortality rate went up to 2.8%. And today there are 445 new cases, bringing the total number to 7,955 total cases in LA County. That includes 287 in the city of Long Beach and 94 in Pasadena. 20 cases of those are experiencing homelessness, and sadly, one staff member from a shelter did pass away. They're also investigating 155 institutional settings with at least one confirmed case of COVID-19. There are now 716 cases of those institutional settings who have contracted COVID-19, 343 residents and 373 staff. At least 51 residents have died, and that is that's 23% of all the deaths in LA County, so quite a large number from institutions.
And of course, you also heard some attempt at making some help to small business owners, and they gave that number where you could call and try to get some assistance. Now, I would caution you, it's 833-238-4450. That was from the Consumer and Business Affairs Worker Relief Help Center. They are overwhelmed with phone calls right now. I was just alerted that many times you'll end up just getting a busy signal or a dial tone and it just goes away, but you also are then generally referred to an email. So I would give it a moment because they just had that announcement. You heard from Joe Nikita there. Many people want answers. They want answers for what they could do, because this affects Uber drivers a lot. It affects people who are those independent contractors.
Exactly.
They're kind of stuck in the middle. They don't know if they get unemployment, if they don't get unemployment, how do they handle it? So that phone number is going to be very popular for small businesses, for employees, for workers that are just trying to get some answers. But right now that number is overwhelmed. So be aware of that. We do want to take a look at some of the latest numbers across Southern California as just given to us by the County Health Department. And these are across the 5 counties that we're looking at. We now know that the LA County number stands at 7,955. We see that Orange County is at 1079. That's an old reported number. We had that from earlier today. Riverside County, remember a couple of days ago, they saw an increase in their cases. At last report, they had 32 deaths and 1179. San Bernardino 641, and Ventura County 263. Again, some of these numbers will change throughout the course of the day.
Exactly. And let's take a look at today's coronavirus headlines. Millions of people could start seeing direct deposits from the stimulus package as early as today. First group includes people who have already given their account information to the IRS. And this as Americans continue to suffer from devastating job losses. New numbers out today show another 6.6 million people filed for unemployment benefits last week. That brings the total claims to nearly 17 million within the last 3 weeks. I heard today that 1 in 10 people have lost their jobs. The U.S. is among the worst affected countries, with more than 432,000 diagnosed with COVID-19. And new numbers show more than 15,000 Americans have died from the virus.
And this is Wall Street right here. You can see the Dow ended the day on a little bit of an upswing. The stocks had really been in positive territory for most of the day. Then they dropped. But a lot of the unemployment is what's driving the market. But then there was the report that there might be another round of stimulus from the Fed that is coming our way. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda has more on those unemployment numbers.
This is a sign of the times. People waiting in line for food. Businesses are closed. Thousands of people without work. Another 6.6 million people filed for unemployment benefits last week. That comes after the same number filed for unemployment the week before. Add it all up, and it's 3 weeks with almost 17 million workers who've lost their jobs. That's 11% of the U.S. labor force. Last week in California, about 925,000 workers filed claims. The week before, it was 1 million. Some analysts say the number of claims will only get worse as businesses stay closed for at least several more weeks. In Van Nuys, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Some fast food workers are demanding more action from their employers during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Many walked off the job today in protest and held a drive-through strike. Eyewitness News reporter Jade Hernandez has more on their demands.
The cars rolled into the parking lot, and drivers laid on their horns and displayed signs in a drive-through protest. This McDonald's employee sums up why he and others are out here.
Workers are afraid of the coronavirus, and I feel like companies aren't doing enough to keep us safe.
Those workers who decided to strike and walk off the job today came from fast food chains such as McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, and Domino's. Protesters say they have proof here in Hyde Park not enough precautions are being taken. The owner of this McDonald's at 7123 Crenshaw Boulevard owns another McDonald's also on Crenshaw, just 11 minutes away. That restaurant is closed after 2 employees tested positive for COVID-19. Angry fast food workers say employees go back and forth between restaurants, so both should have been shut down after the employees got sick. The franchise owner of both McDonald's sent us a statement saying in part, quote, "As soon as we were notified, we immediately closed the restaurant to thoroughly deep clean and notify local health authorities. At the same time, we identified and reached out to all restaurant staff who had been in close contact with the employee who contracted the virus. These employees have been asked to self-quarantine for 14 days and are being paid while they are away from the restaurant."
Get them off private property, otherwise they're going to get cited.
LAPD officer Abel Estepin cleared this parking lot after the manager called police.
He says they're striking, that's fine, I understand. I don't have an issue with that, but I have to run my business also.
If any worker is at risk and being exploited out here, then every worker has the potential to be.
And these workers add their health is just as essential as everyone else's. In Hyde Park, Jade Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
In Orange County, Kaiser Permanente is closing 4 more clinics today as it prepares for a surge in coronavirus cases. The clinics in La Palma, Brea, Lakeview, which is in Anaheim, and Huntington Beach will be closed to in-person patients. Other clinics in the area will also be restructured to focus only on patients with COVID-19 symptoms. The announcement comes weeks after the company shuttered several other clinics in an effort to streamline operations.
And now to an update on a story we first reported here on Eyewitness News yesterday. More than 80 patients from a Riverside nursing home that was the site of a coronavirus cluster outbreak are now at an alternate facility after most of the employees failed to show up for work. Management at Magnolia Rehabilitation and Nursing Center turned to the County Department of Public Health for assistance. The residents were evacuated. 1/3 of them were sent to the emergency field hospital at the county fairgrounds in Indio. Of the 13 nurses scheduled to work yesterday, 1 showed up. Staffers say they simply didn't feel they had adequate protection.
It is difficult and it is a scary time, but I think, these people depend on professionals to do their job.
I don't want people thinking we're bad. It's just we're not being properly protected and they're not providing us with the things that we need.
There are 34 known COVID-19 cases among patients and 16 employees. Test results are still pending for others at the approximately 90-bed facility.
Health officials in Riverside County say they need more ventilators. This just days after Governor Newsom sent 500 state-owned ventilators to hot spots around the country. As cases climb, Riverside County health officials estimate that all the ventilators will be in use by April 26th. Newsom says all the equipment will be returned to California if and when it's needed. And the governor noted on Monday that ventilators are lent, not given.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, part of the White House coronavirus task force, reiterated on Good Morning America only one thing will dictate the timeline for a return to normalcy.
The virus itself is going to determine the guideline. We hope that by the time we get to this extended 30-day period, I do hope by the time we get there that we will well see that curve, that bending in the curve, which we've been talking about now for several weeks.
Fauci added that we shouldn't assume the change to our warmer weather will rescue us from COVID-19, and he advised we should avoid handshakes for a while. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti plans to close city parks to discourage people from gathering on Easter. Parks will be closed from Saturday night to Monday. Police officers are expected to be on patrol. This comes after LA County announced earlier this week it will also close parks on Easter to prevent large gatherings. Everyone is encouraged to continue practicing physical distancing while staying at home.
Well, the weather's certainly not good for surfing today, but the recent rain did not stop some people last night from trying to catch some waves in Malibu. Deputies told at least a dozen surfers to disperse after signs and barricades marking the beach closure were knocked over. Surfers were not cited or arrested. And another drive-through coronavirus testing site has opened up in San Bernardino County. It's located at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in Colton. Testing at the medical center started at 8 this morning and is by appointment only. Hospital officials say they are working with the county to ensure an effective response to the coronavirus outbreak. More testing will be available tomorrow and several days next week.
The coronavirus emergency is now affecting the Mercy hospital ship in the Port of Los Angeles. The Navy says a crew member on the ship tested positive for COVID-19. That crew member is being transferred to an off-ship isolation facility. The Navy says this will not impact the ability of the Mercy to receive patients. You'll remember the ship is serving as a referral hospital for non-COVID-19 patients.
And a federal judge is now ordering LA City and LA County to submit new plans on servicing Skid Row during the pandemic. The move is part of an effort to stop the spread of the virus in the homeless community. Other efforts include new shelters inside recreation centers and the purchase of hundreds of hotel rooms and trailers to house the homeless. Mayor Garcetti said yesterday there are more than 300 sanitary stations for people that are living on the streets, and those stations will be checked every day. And LA Metro will continue scaling back services. The agency says it will further reduce operations by 10% starting April 19th. Metro plans to run its Sunday service schedule every day. Bus drivers will continue keeping their distance from passengers, and officials are also contemplating closing selected entrances to rail stations with multiple entries in order to allow Metro to keep the rest of the system clean.
During the coronavirus emergency, of course, you're advised to stay at home.
For some people, leaving home isn't even an option. Community journalist Sophie Flay shows us how a group in Silver Lake is working to deliver groceries and medicine to those in need.
The coronavirus pandemic has made it difficult for so many people to run everyday errands, but a few neighbors in Silver Lake are here to help.
So far, we've helped about 10 people, but we have had a lot of people reach out saying that, hey, I don't need anything right now, but I'm going to need something in the future, or it's good to know that you're here if I run out of supplies.
That's Melissa Libertelli. She started the neighborhood group Here to Help Silver Lake after noticing so many young, healthy people wanted to assist those that need a little extra help right now.
We have probably 60 or 70 volunteers, just people that have reached out saying that they would love to be part of this and just like, hey, sign me up. And since we're out canvassing the neighborhood with our flyers that have our information on it, people will see that and then write to me that they want to volunteer. So it just grows every day.
Volunteers help pick up things like groceries and prescriptions, and also to help get the word out.
My goal is to obviously first and foremost help anyone who can't leave their house get whatever they need, and to not stress and feel like, worried about how they're going to get their prescription or their medication or their dog's food.
But Melissa says it's also been a great way to get to know her community. 6 feet apart, of course.
I've had a couple people reach out that it ends up that they don't really need anything right now, but they just want to talk and know that people are around, and also connecting the volunteers together.
It's been really reassuring for people just to know that there are people who care. Like, I think half of the battle is just reminding people of that connection and that, having someone to talk to sometimes.
If you're looking to donate your time to Here to Help Silver Lake, email heretohelpsilverlake@gmail.com.
Meantime, a new restaurant in Pasadena is saying thank you to our frontline workers by feeding them. The owner of Hummus Labs says he's been looking for ways to show his appreciation, and his customers quickly jumped on board with donations. So today they'll deliver meals to healthcare workers at Huntington Hospital. The owner and head chef, Joseph Badaro, says thanks to the support of customers, he plans to cater food to another hospital next week.
An unprecedented decline in air travel caused by the pandemic. It is down 95% from a year ago. Fewer than 100,000 people went through airport checkpoints on Tuesday. That's the lowest number since the TSA began to keep track. There was a big slowdown in air travel following 9/11, but it didn't take long to rebound. Surveys indicate it could be a slower recovery this time around.
Now, here's something interesting. Southland animal shelters have seen a huge increase in adoptions recently because of stay-at-home orders.
In Riverside, demand was so high, the Riverside Animal Shelter is empty.
Adoption center.
They're very happy. If you're looking for a new pet, there are still plenty of animals looking for homes at other shelters in the area.
Yeah, today was Pet of the Week. SPCA LA is doing appointment adoptions, so make sure you have a chance to do that. ABC 7 has teamed up with the LA Archdiocese to bring Easter Mass to millions of people who are at home.
We'll carry two services, the 7 a.m. Mass in Spanish and the English Mass at 10 a.m. You can watch them on abc7.com/live. We'll also carry them on the Localish network. If you watch TV using an antenna, you can find it on channel 7.2 over the air. You can also find it through our Localish network distribution partners. That's Cox channels 796 and 1133, Frontier channel 467, Google Fiber channel 70, Mediacom channel 520, and you see it on your screen, Charter Spectrum channel 1246.